Good afternoon and welcome to this council meeting for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. It is April 10th, 2024. It is 5 p.m. and I would ask Clerk Tara to get us started.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the council, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
And we will begin the meeting with our First Nations land acknowledgement. We will begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the territory of First Nations people who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. We also acknowledge the local Lower Thames River watershed communities of this area, which include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, Munsee Delaware Nation, and Delaware Nation of Moraviantown. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all the original peoples of Turtle Island, which is North America. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation. Item 4, the adoption of the draft minutes. It was in your agenda package. Are there any changes, errors, or omissions the council would note? Seeing none, they will be adopted as presented to council. Clerk Tara, are there any items not listed on the agenda?
There are none.
Thank you. This is our public meeting for our budget. So I would ask Clerk Tara to get us into the meeting, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that the public meeting for the 2024 municipal budget opens at 5:01 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And at this point, I'm going to let our CAO treasurer handle the budget presentation, but I have a few comments at the start and I'll get them out of the way.
All right.
I am pleased to present the 2024 draft operating budget for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. I would like to thank the commitment of staff and my fellow council members for their hard work and tough decisions to bring this budget forward, and also comment on the budget committee who spent additional meeting time getting it organized. Thank you for that. The 2024 budget reflects a strong and ongoing commitment by this council to maintain and improve the levels of service Dutton Dunwich residents and businesses rely on, while at the same time respecting the taxpayer, many of whom are struggling in these difficult and challenging economic times. The dramatic increase in material, labor, and supply costs has had a huge impact on our municipality's finances, just as I am sure it has impacted your own family and business. And I want to assure residents that we will continue to be prudent with your tax dollars, making every dollar count. Municipalities are being tasked with taking on new and increasing responsibilities and expenditures. Growth happens whether we want it or not, which will require significant investment in municipal infrastructure. The only question then becomes, what steps will we take today to ensure we manage growth rather than growth managing us? This budget continues our commitment to forward thinking and defining a clear vision on what type of municipality we want to be. We are also facing the day-to-day responsibilities associated with complex healthcare and social challenges like homelessness and addiction. It is not sustainable. Municipalities need the provincial and federal governments to come to the table and bring stability and sustainability to municipal finances. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our CAO treasurer, Tracy.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. So just a presentation overview. The land acknowledgement, which we've just heard. Message from the mayor. Council and strategic priorities. A message from the CEO treasurer. Dutton Dunwich and the services offered. Reserves and debt. 2024 budget overview, assessment and tax levy breakdown, departmental revenues and expenses, and then the recommendation. So first is our land acknowledgement, which the mayor has read for us. And the message from the mayor. So Dutton Dunwich Council, Dutton Dunwich is governed by a mayor, deputy mayor, and 3 elected officials representing 2 wards. Together, they are responsible for developing a vision for the community. Council supports the municipality by establishing policies that affect the overall operation of the community while ensuring the public and municipality's well-being and interests are maintained. To ensure these policies are adhered to and the entire municipality receives equitable service, council appoints a chief administrative officer who is directly responsible for the municipality's administration. The strategic plan, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich continues to work to develop the municipality through responsible management and long-range planning while maintaining regard for urban, agricultural, tourism, and recreation with a vision for economic stability. In 2023, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approved the 23 to 26 strategic plan with the following strategic priorities: to create a strong foundation for the municipality's future through fiscal responsibility, to foster, support, enhance, and promote business and business investment, to ensure our infrastructure fully serves our growing community needs, and to promote a community known for getting it done in which people are fully engaged and want to live, shop, and relax. A budget is not just a financial document. It is a guide to help move our community in the right direction. Our 2024 budget represents the reality of where Dutton Dunwich is now and enables council to implement a vision that focuses on achieving longer-term plans. Through discussions with council staff and residents, it is clear that we want to build a community that reflects the ideals of those who call Dutton Dunwich home. As part of council's strategic plan, we are committed to delivering excellent service by ensuring administration is connected to our community and government partners. The pandemic accelerated our use of technology, and we continue to increase ways residents can obtain public information, feedback, and interaction. All Ontario municipalities are faced with similar challenges of healthcare, social, and housing issues being funded through property taxes rather than through upper level income taxes and consumption taxes, which is your HST. We continue to urge the federal and provincial governments to revisit funding mechanisms in their review of property taxes and assessment management plans in order to provide relief to Ontario property taxpayers. Like anyone running a household, the cost of Dutton Dunwich operational expenses have increased, and this has required us to make choices about our priorities and how we achieve them. Our staff continue to look for efficiencies and innovations in their work. That effort and attitude are as important as anything else we do. The municipality has legislated responsibilities that must be fulfilled, much like a household that must pay expenses such as their rent, mortgage, and utilities. We must deal with the same economic factors that affect households, including higher interest rates, construction costs, and price increases due to inflation. Administration is presenting a draft 2024 budget with a 9.73% increase. The 2024 budget was developed trying to balance the economic challenges of our residents and our continued significant infrastructure deficits and the impact of community growth on our existing infrastructure. So Dutton Dunwich is located in southwestern Ontario in the county of Elgin. Dutton Dunwich is a lower tier municipality situated between Southold and West Elgin along the 401 corridor and Lake Erie, with a population of 4152. That was the 2021 census, and a land area of 294.28 kilometers squared. Dutton Dunwich was formed in 1998 through amalgamation of the village of Dutton and former township of Dunwich. It includes the hamlets of Wallacestown, Daytona Beach, and western parts of Iona and Iona Station. The municipality employs 26 full-time and 6 part-time employees, 11 summer students, and 23 volunteer firefighters. Municipal service. So the Dutton Dunwich offers animal control, building services, bylaw enforcement, cemeteries, development services, economic development, fire and emergency services, waste collection, municipal drains, road maintenance and capital works, street lighting, parks and recreation areas, water and wastewater. The services provided by Elgin County are capital roads, county roads capital work, land ambulance services, economic development, home for the aged, library services, social services and housing, land use planning approval authority. The next slide is just a snapshot of where we are with our reserves. The estimated closing balance at the end of 2024 will leave us with 1.59 million in reserves. We're going into 2024 with 2.183. If there's any questions on that from the public or council? Going into 2024, our total debt is 3.268571 million. (2024) budget overview. The Municipal Act 2001, Section 291 requires municipalities to prepare and adopt a budget, including estimates of all sums required during the year for the purposes of the municipality. Municipalities must adopt a balanced budget. The operating budget provides the necessary resources to deliver programs and services to meet the needs of our growing community and accommodate for inflationary pressures. Please note that all reserves and reserve fund balances in the previous spreadsheet are estimated and subject to change with final year-end adjustments. The municipality is governed by provincial legislation, including but not limited to the Municipal Act and the provincial policy statement. The 2024 budget is created by these regulations as well as following documents and regulations: Asset Management Plan, Strategic Plan, Official Plan, Planning Act, Building Code Act, Drainage Act, Bridge and Culvert Study Inspections, Highway Traffic Act, Ontario Standards for Roads and Public Works, Minimum Maintenance Standards, Canadian Labor Standards, Hours of Work, Occupational Health and Safety, Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, Ministry of Environment Conservation and Parks, Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, Office of the Fire Marshal. So the next sheet just shows our assessment comparison between 23 and 24. We had a 1.2% growth between the 2 years. If you see that the majority of our assessment is farmland, which makes it very hard on the residential tax rate. And the revenue by class in this slide besides shows where the revenue is being collected from the residential, farm, and then our small commercial industrial base that we are working on. But the 2024 tax levy in Dutton Dunwich is $5,412,124, which results in a 9.73% increase. The 2024 tax levy will have the below impact on a median current value assessment obtained through Opta. Now, as everybody knows, the government has not reassessed houses in quite a long time, so they're still saying our median house is 217,000, which we know is going to change considerably when they do the reassessments. But for a median house with this increase, average property would see an increase for the year of $188.97. Farmland, the median is at $658.5, and that would see an increase of $131.61 for the year. And then there's a spreadsheet there of the allotment of the property tax levy of which area is paying the most of the tax levy. And no surprise, Public Works, they have the biggest area, is 40% of the tax rate for the roads, sidewalks, those kind of things. So. Yeah, sweet.
Am I allowed to ask?
Yes, go right ahead.
How many cemeteries are under the purview of the municipality?
3.
Thank you. Who's the three?
Fairview, Blacks, and McKell.
Okay, thank you. Good on.
3 active, yeah, 3 active that we actually look after. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. So moving on, this is the summary of the actual departmental impacts of the tax rate. Is there any questions on that? Any questions in the gallery?
If I could comment, Tracy, property taxes could not look after health services. I'm wondering if you could just explain that item a little bit better for folks.
Right, so if I look at this summary, the budget summary total. If you go down to medical center, that is $299,298 on our tax rate, which is to run the medical center. So this is where we have to say the government has to step in and help with getting healthcare off our property taxes. That's what, 6%, 5 something like this, yeah.
Can you explain the large increase in the budget for council?
Yes, I can. That is a couple donated things that the council had committed, building permit for the new Lions Senior Center and some commitments to some community groups. Some of it is offset in other departments because they're using certain departments for some community stuff. So, but the big jump would be the building permit. Yeah.
So you're forgiving that basically.
Yes, but because the building code act separates the building department as its own entities, and it puts the reserves into it puts its surpluses in a reserve, and then when it has a bad year, it draws from that reserve. So she has to record her income. So yeah, so it's expense on the government side, and then the revenue goes in the building department side. So
Thank you.
yep. So the next two slides are just the breakdown of the revenues and expenses from each department. Based on our user fees and rents and tax, obviously tax revenue is in there. So do you have any questions on any of that stuff?
I see waste management down considerably. Did we get a new contract?
No, it's just reallocated a bit differently.
Thank you.
Does that have anything to do with the recycling and
Yes, moving the recycling and the garbage collection into their proper GLs. Yep.
Thanks.
Yes. Anybody else online would like to ask a question? Well, if we have no other questions, then the recommendation is that council approve the 2024 operational budget as presented, and that council approves tax revenue of an amount of $5,412,124.
Any further comments from council or anyone attending? Bert? Councillor Greifeld, go ahead.
I'd first of all like to thank you, Tracy, for the hard work you put into this. Is not an easy task. First year I sat on the committee itself with Councillor Pemberton, and we had our struggles going through this. And the tax rate actually came out higher. I think we've done very well to keep it under 10%. Unfortunately, that's the reality. I will add to this that I've been watching the national average, and the national average is 10.33%. So I think we've done well. There are some major cost impacts, as Tracy has suggested, in going through the budget. And there are a few that we would not normally have. And one being the asset management software, which is $150,000, which is mandatory. So there's some stuff that's just out of our control. And this council, to my best ability, is making every efforts to stabilize our economic situation. And so I'm congratulating Tracy. It's a hard job. This is not easy. She manages on a tight budget, and so does everyone else in the municipality. So thank you for your hard work. So
Anything further from council? Or the gallery, online or in person? I will just make a short comment. No services have been cut. We're maintaining service delivery, and it is a challenge, as Councillor Dreyfus suggested. Costs are, as we all know, are increasing exponentially. So I appreciate the work that the budget committee did to narrow this down, and we are where we are. Nothing further? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves the 2024 operational budget as presented, and that council approve tax revenue in the amount of $5,412,124. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And
Moved by Dreyfus, Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the public meeting for the 2024 municipal budget closes at 5:21 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
okay, the next item, we do have a delegation. We're a little bit early, but is Chris Ovsenek here? Okay, Chris, you're up. Have a seat. The microphone. I think I missed it. Okay, I'll do it right now.
Yeah, so can we do that with first? Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. Does council have any declaration of pecuniary interest? I see none. Okay, thank you.
Usually if anybody has it, they'll speak up, but I just wanted to make sure we did get it in there. Thanks.
Okay. We have a delegation. It's Chris Ovsenek. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yes.
And he is here to speak to council on the sale of property on Dymic Line.
Yep.
Okay, you have been offered a package of our delegation rules, and you have 10 minutes.
Understood.
Okay, very good.
All right.
The floor is yours.
All right. I'm here today to oppose the council's decision to dispose of this property on Dymock Line. Property right here. I'm sure you all have been made aware of it up to now. I have obtained information from Oakview Land Use Planning, but I want to express to this council, I have solicited his services without his prior knowledge of my intentions to dispute the property sale. He has allowed me to read this to council with this understanding. He has provided me questions for the feasibility of residential use of this property. My objective today is to provide this council with enough doubt of their decision to dispose of this land the way that they have proceeded, so that they can provide the taxpayer with the best representation. I hope I can speak today unobstructed and that any previous prejudice can be set aside. All right. So I'm going to go through some of the concerns that Oakview Land Use Planning. I'm going to read his disclaimer for you first. Like I said, he's approved for me to read this today. So, but I'm going to read the bottom disclaimer first. The following information does not represent a legal opinion. It is simply observations based on publicly available information, which was hard to obtain from this office, to be made aware. This is based on experience as a professional land use planner only. This information is provided solely to address to the addressee and is not intended for distribution to other parties without the strict written permission of the author, which I've obtained. All right, so here's what it starts out, Chris. I have undertaken a review of the available information on the property in question on Dymock Line, and I would offer the following comments or questions for you guys. So he's pulled a pin, which attached shows the lot as the ownership of the public authority having jurisdiction. It is likely that the lands were formerly part of County Road 5 for the County of Elgin, but may have transferred to Dutton Dunwich after County Road 5 was realigned as it appears today. This is an assumption based on part of the PIN search information, but does not clearly outline, as it does not officially show any transfers occurring. Because the lands abut the Thames River, and this is the sale of municipal lands, it is my understanding that there may be the need to consult with federal government since the river is crown land. Is this required? And if so, has it been undertaken? The lot is approximately 0.94 acres in size with the frontage of 22 meters, give or take, which does not meet the minimum requirements of an existing lot of record as per section 4.12 of the Dutton Dunwich zoning bylaw. While limited in width, there does appear to be a building envelope on the site. As noted on the neighbor's wells, the neighbor's well could impact the location of any new septic system. This would generally be addressed as part of any permit requirements. The lands are fully within the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority regulated area and will require a permit from any construction, require a permit for any construction on site or alteration. There appears to be livestock in the area to the west, southeast, and the closest is approximately 420 meters. Any new construction should be subject to minimum distance separation requirements, which may or may not impact the site. If a municipal drain is located on the site, which we're considering there might be, this would impact the location of any dwelling as there are minimum setback requirements. Has the municipality confirmed the location of municipal drains? The zoning bylaw requires setback from the top of the Thames River bank of 30 meters. As this appears to be a given road, trespass road, did the county or municipality ever officially assume the road? And if so, was it or is it subject to road closure processes? Is the municipality certain that the lands have a clear title to be sold? As municipal lands, is proper process being followed for the sale of the municipal lands? As a comprehensive plan being considered to determine the property is indeed buildable, dwelling, building envelope, septic system footprint, including setbacks for the neighboring wells, impact on the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority regulations, etc., to safeguard any liability to the municipality from a prospective purchaser? Or are they simply relying on the purchasers undertaking their own due diligence? Well, this brings me to the listing agents implying that this is to build your dream home. So I'm assuming as his customers, I've assumed you've done your due diligence to ensure that a property could be built and not impact the community negatively, right? Because the neighbors that live here, we care. You know, one of them is here today, the other one wishes he could be, but we might only be 3 neighbors, but it's important to us that our properties and the size of properties we have and the amount of love we put into our properties is respected by our council. If the municipality is not forthcoming with information, you may also consider submitting a freedom of information request. So that's that. I have more complete surveys than you guys have ever offered. I've worked hard to obtain a proper survey. I have complete surveys, like I've stated to you in the past, from 1974. They have a lot more literature than the surveys that you guys have used. That, well, you provided the selling agent in their package does not have everything that my survey had. I want this council to be made aware that they hired a lawyer, which has provided minimal to no communication between myself and the municipality. I was unable to get clarification on the reasoning which the lawyer was hired. I don't feel that the lawyer was necessary despite some allegations, but the allegations were unfounded because I've encouraged members of council to proceed with legal through the police force if they feel that there was threats made. I feel the use of the lawyer was to hinder my public access to further information on this property. And she was never hired to facilitate my gathering of information. And I've done my own work here and it's cost me my own money. And I'm willing to do this because I feel that myself and my neighbors deserve to have more clarity and to be addressed when such a honestly ridiculously shaped property is being sold abutting our land, right? So I just want the council to be made aware and the community made aware that if someone were to buy this, like I've said in the past to you guys, if someone were to buy this, there's no way that you could justify the profits for this property to make sense for the community if they chose to proceed with legal actions, which with the information I provided you today, you can't definitely tell me, or you haven't willing to tell me that you feel confident that the purchaser or a neighbor with a well might not decide to take legal action against you guys, which at the end of the day, you guys have unlimited funds, but it comes from the taxpayers, including myself. So I'm done today. And if this continues, then I'll just keep going back. And I hope you guys are willing to communicate with me in the future without the need of a lawyer, because I feel that I have nothing but fair, considering that you guys gave no respect to the community regarding the sale of the land. And I'm going to follow up with this lawyer and figure out what the intentions were of bringing the lawyer in. Because you shouldn't be using taxpayers' money to hire lawyers against people that are only inquiring about information. I'm done.
Okay. Are you going to leave the questions that you have on that sheet with us?
You hire your own staff.
But you have specific concerns and questions.
I
and
can
we wanna
send them.
make-
I can send them to your lawyer,
Okay,
and she
So
can
we-
send them to.
so we
herself.
can answer your concerns. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, and I've asked many of these questions over the last week
Mhm.
with no answers. Like I said, I can send this to your lawyer because that's how you guys have chosen to proceed at the taxpayer's cost.
Please do. We will answer every one of your concerns.
And I would really appreciate if you let me know, give me a good outline of why the lawyer was hired. You can do that at a later date. I can come back to another council meeting, but I just feel like I shouldn't have to communicate with my municipality through a lawyer. And I shouldn't be forced to feel that I have to hire a lawyer to represent myself, because my funds aren't unlimited. I work just as hard as everyone else in this community to pay taxes. And I don't need to pay more money just in order to be heard or respected or represented.
Okay. We have afforded you the opportunity to speak to
And I
council.
appreciate it. I hope going forth we can have a better relationship.
Okay. Anything further?
No,
Okay, and you are going to get your questions and your concerns to
To
our
your
lawyer
lawyer.
then?
to
And
the
we will,
people's lawyer, I
we will
suppose.
respond to your questions.
Hopefully not before it sells.
As you
Because it
know,
would be
we
a
have,
shame,
we
right?
have paused that, as you know.
Well, you have a 48-hour hold on accepting offers.
Okay.
Right, so
I sent you an email last night that we have paused the sale until we got to.
it's still up on MLS.
The pause when it was going on today. I signed the paperwork today.
The sale is, the property is no longer listed on the,
That's right. There's a pause until we could answer all your concerns and,
All right.
and make sure.
well, I'll have that to you
Yeah,
guys.
I sent you the email last night to let you know that was happening.
Are
so
you
that-
willing to accept 48 hours? I can have you all the questions within 48 hours.
You can send those directly to me. I think the lawyer said you could just send them to me.
I just think, I think you guys haven't really outlined why you've included a lawyer, so I think it's best as we proceed, we continue to use the lawyer until you guys have explained to me at least why you're including a lawyer. Because I feel like if the involvement of a lawyer has put me on the hot spot. Right? I don't want to create more problems for myself by just communicating with you guys and then having you guys come back to me later with a lawyer.
I'll leave it up to you whether you want to get them to our lawyer or
Go to
directly
your
to
lawyer.
Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I wish I had went on the street set.
Okay. We are on item 8 and get into drainage. And the first item is the Gilroy drain. Brent, do you want to come up? We'll have a discussion. I know, I'm not going to get into it. Okay, we have the Gilroy drain. It's a CSX facilities encroachment agreement. Just expand on that, please, Brent.
Okay, this is an agreement. CSX has rules and regulations for crossing their right of way when we construct a drain or do any work. This agreement is similar or the same as the one we used in the Lodge and Graham drain. Now that we're in a position to construct this drain, now that we've solved other agencies' concerns with Hydro One and whatever, we're able to proceed. So later we're going to award a tender. Most likely council's going to make a decision on that. And we'll have all the information that we need to be able to send back to CSX that they require from us and our contractor to keep moving forward on the construction of this Gilroy drain. Is there any questions? It's about 16 pages of reading if you chose to read it.
Light reading for an evening.
This
Yeah.
council read every word, Brent, I can assure you.
Okay.
It was.
I heard a lot of snoring.
No questions from council on this? Okay, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Gilroy Drain CSX Facilities Encroachment Agreement dated April 10th, 2024 for information, and that council enter into a facilities encroachment agreement with CSX Transportation, Inc. for the construction of the Gilroy Drain across their abandoned right-of-way. And further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to CSX Transportation, Inc. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we'll move on to the tender results for the Gilroy drain. They are before council. Brent, anything further to add on that?
I think we did pretty well because those prices were almost a year old from the engineer's report because we've been almost a year sorting out some agency issues. One thing you'll note is the assessments under section 26 to the municipality are higher. That's part of the Drainage Act where when you cross a utility or a road, that authority has to pay the increased cost of crossing. And the way the tenders came back, they were quite a bit higher than the engineer's estimate. So how it turns out, if I, off the top of my head, the low tender was 105.1%. The landowners are paying around 102% of the engineer's estimate for the construction, but the roads are about 130%. So.
Okay. Thanks, Brent. Any questions from council? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that council award Van Bree Drainage and Bulldozing Limited the contract for the construction of the Gilroy Drain in the amount of $359,700 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Your work is done.
You guys have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, Brent. On to the planning department. We have a request to approve a heritage designation bylaw for Greenan Community Center at 13568 Dunbar Road, Dutton Dunwich. Does council wish to speak to that? We've already dealt with it. Clerk Tara, please.
Would you like the planner to go through any of that?
Pardon?
Would you like the planner? She is in attendance.
Certainly. I didn't see you there, Tracy. You have any comments on that one?
No comments, just happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, I don't see any questions here, so we're good to go. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Request to Approve Heritage Designation Bylaw for Kernan Community Center, 13568 Dunborough Road, Dutton Dunwich, dated April 10th, 2024, for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich approved the designation of 13568 Dunborough Road as property to be of cultural heritage value or interest under the provisions of Section 29 of the Ontario Heritage Act, RSO 1990, CO 18, in accordance with the bylaw 2024-17. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And item B is a proposed interim control bylaw as a moratorium to pause new development and draft servicing allocation policy. We've already talked about this. There were a couple of questions the last meeting from council. And Tracy, I'll let you address those at this time.
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. So if you recall, council directed administration to prepare this interim control bylaw, but at the February meeting, when the report was presented for consideration, council asked for the item to be deferred until we can gather more information and obtain confirmation from provincial representatives to ensure that the bylaw would not have any negative impact on future funding requests. As well, you requested staff to prepare a draft servicing allocation policy for council to review. So the purpose of this application is just to report back to let you know that the communication has been completed with MMAH and the local MPP's office, and both had confirmed that there'll be no negative impacts on the capabilities of funding for the wastewater treatment plant if you were to put the pause through the interim control bylaw. Also, as part of that interim control bylaw, one of the things that would have been studied would be an allocation policy. So we have found, through the County of Elgin's consultation, they provided us with a sample template. So I've done some work on this policy just for your information, so you can sort of see what that might look like. More work will need to be done because we would need to consult the county wastewater treatment operator and the Dillon Consulting, just so that we could fine tune exactly what that policy would be. But essentially that policy would be implemented once you have a reserve and once you have capacity. So after the expansion has been tendered, then we would be able to fine tune that. And the highlights of the policy is that it allows you to allocate in a sustainable and transparent manner, and it aligns development proposed perfectly with what you have for capacity. So every year, the wastewater treatment plant would come forward with a report to you to let you know how much is in reserve and or capacity, and then you would pick from a list on what you would like to move forward. Now, the holding is a big tool of this, is that you would advance all of your development to a point where you've got draft plan approval or site plan control, but you would hold them in that H provision, and then you would only remove the holding on whatever lot. So a scenario would be, as a development, they have 100 new lots, but January 1st of next year, you only have room for 10 more lots. You'd only remove the holding for 10, and then they would be able to issue building permits for 10. And then they would have to wait. And then there's some sort of use it or lose it. They go back to the bottom of the list if they don't use it within a certain period of time. So those things we would want to flesh out once we get into the details of that. What the allocation bylaw policy does is it does or does not. Again, it only deals with what's the capacity at the plant. It doesn't allocate what pipes go to the plant. So as part of a development, the private consultants would then propose the size of the plants, and then it would be up to the property owner to pay for any oversizing or any pipes that go to the plant. And could at some point in time discuss front-end financing. So some developers might be able to pay ahead to secure their space on the allocation list. So that's sort of just an insight of what that would look like. So administration's position is still to recommend the interim control bylaw as a way to just pause things. And then, of course, it is appealable. Notice will go into a newspaper, the website, and as a courtesy, we would send it to the commenting agencies and the development community. And it's a 50-day appeal period. And then during that 1 year that the interim control bylaw is good for, then we would start bringing back some more details on the servicing policy. Now, I did lay out in my report that council has two other options. Council does have the option not to approve the interim control bylaw and request that administration just start working on the servicing allocation bylaw. So as soon as your plant is tendered, then we'll have that policy ready. It should be noted that consultation with the County of Eldon will be very key to working on this policy. Your third option would be is that you can continue sort of status quo, which is our current approach, which is just have administration tell developers at the counter or during pre-consultation that we have capacity issues and that we're not going to process any applications. Now, they always have the right to appeal a no decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but we would certainly have a very strong argument why we would not support development, because you have to have sufficient development services to support development. So happy to answer any questions that I may have missed.
Tracy, you have written confirmation from MPP Flack's office that in no way this would affect our chances at funding.
That's correct. It came in a written email.
Okay. I also had a conversation with MPP Flack on this, and he said we had no choice to do what we're doing, and he would do everything in his ability as MPP to help us with our funding application. Okay. So that came from MPP Flack and from Flack's office. So they did their work on there. It's not going to harm our chances at obtaining funding. And I think that was a concern that council had. So having said that, are there any other questions? Yeah.
Statement if you like.
Well, sure, go ahead.
I think I'm happy to staying with the status quo, to be quite truthful. I think creating this bylaw is throwing up the wrong impression to the developers. We really can't approve any subdivisions until the capacity gets in place, and I'm quite happy with that. It lets us do a little infilling here and there that without creating a lot more work for our staff and council. So I'm happy just to stay where we're at.
Anything further from council? No other questions? Councillor Doulard, you have a...
I had a similar statement that I would like to continue with the current approach and to have administration advise applicants at the time of pre-consultation review of the planning applications, and that they're currently letting developers know about the capacity issues, which they have to. And my understanding is that the applicant has the right to appeal if we put this in place or if we don't put it in place. And I believe that the appeal period is extended with the moratorium. That's it.
Okay. Anything further from council? Tracy, any additional comments?
Nothing further.
Nothing further? Okay, we have a resolution in front of us, and I would ask that this be a recorded vote. Tara, please.
Moved by Doulard, seconded by Dryfout, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Proposed Interim Control Bylaw as a Moratorium to Pause New Development and Draft Servicing Allocation Policy dated April 10th, 2024 for information, and that council approve an interim control bylaw pursuant to section 38 of the Planning Act for a period of up to 1 year, temporarily prohibiting all development within the settlement area of Dutton in order to address municipal servicing capacity limitations in accordance with the bylaw attached, and that administration continues to work on the draft servicing allocation policy for council consideration at a future meeting. And you would like your name removed?
I would ask to have my name removed as the mover.
Can I put moved by Pemberton?
Sit on the floor.
Is there anyone that would like to move?
I'll move.
Okay, you are seconder, but then I need a seconder. All right, without a seconder, then.
Yeah, I'll second it then.
I'll second it, okay. All right, then for recorded vote, Counselor Pemberton? Counselor,
No.
Counselor Droulard?
No.
Counselor Dreyfus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland?
No.
And Mayor Hentz?
Yes.
And that motion is defeated.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy. Are you hanging around? She's going to hang around? Okay, thank you.
I will.
Okay, let's move on to correspondence. The City of Brantford, home heating sustainability. Everyone has seen that. Is there any comments, questions? If not, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the City of Brantford requesting the federal government to exclude home heating from the federal carbon tax to reduce the burden on citizens, as has been done in Saskatchewan, and for the federal and provincial governments to reinstate home energy retrofit, rebate, and grant programs, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the City of Brantford. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item B is Prince Edward County, a call to action to meet the deadline of an accessible Ontario by 2025. Any questions or comments from council? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from Prince Edward County encouraging the provincial government to take action urgently to create a municipal accessibility fund for municipalities to develop, implement, and enforce AODA standards related to goods, services, accommodation, employment, and buildings, and to commit to working with municipalities to implement the Donovan Review immediate crisis recommendations. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and Prince Edward County. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. The Township of Clearville endorsement of BC 63 in the House of Commons. Anything from council on that one? Nope, nothing. Go ahead, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Droulard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from Clearview Township endorsing the passing of Bill C-63 in the House of Commons and the establishment of a Digital Safety Commission and nomination of an independent ombudsman, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and Clearview Township. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And Township of Adelaide Metcalf, request to increase the tile drain loan limit. And I can speak to this, that 50,000 doesn't get you very far anymore. So that's my only comment on that. Anything else from council? If not, resolution please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe requesting that the province, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, consider increasing the maximum annual tile loan limit to a minimum of $100,000, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Dreyfus, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Does anyone need a break? We've been about an hour. Everybody's good? Okay, fair enough. People want to get out of here, I guess. Excuse me. Let's go to the consent agenda and the correspondence. We'll break it up in threes here. The Town of Shelburne, eradicate Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Ontario Parks, opportunity to comment on the proposed John E. Pierce Provincial Park Management Plan Amendment. And the Elgin Group Police Service Board, November 15th, 2023 and February 26th, 2024 meeting minutes. Anything from council on those items? Councillor Dreyfus.
I'll just speak to the Ontario Parks proposed management plan amendment. The primary objective of the amendment is to classify a zoning change to part of the parks, which is they will bring it to history or historical, which the majority of the park right now is considered nature reserve, which limits and has for many years limited the ability for Bacchus Page to execute some of what their plans are. So this has been a long, I'm going to say 20 years in the making. This is a big milestone for Bacchus Page and for Ontario Parks. So I'm fully supportive of it. I intend to write a letter supporting the amendment. So I just thought I'd let you know that this is let council know that this is not something that just came about. This is years of lobbying. And if we all know how Ontario Parks operates, it's a slow moving machine. So this will give them more ability to moving forward. So I'm quite happy for Bacchus Page. So
Thank you. And were you able to get onto their link? Have you tried that?
yes.
I can't seem to navigate my way around it.
Do you use the live link with the?
Yeah, I did. And it just seems to stop, so. And you were able to get on? Okay. Well, please offer comments. And I think it's a great thing too. And I'll maybe come in here and try and do it because I plan on commenting as well.
I'll just add, if I could add one thing, just on behalf of Bacchus Page, I was involved there for many years, as Mayor Hens knows, one of the founding members of negotiating with Ontario Parks to have a museum there. This organization's been around for 30 years. This year, it's 30 years. They haven't been a burden to the municipality at all. And their budget continually increases. They're self-sufficient. They have employees where many municipalities have a cultural employee on staff. And, you know, they've managed to do that through this whole 30 years of existence. So as I mentioned in another previous meeting, you know, there may be a time where we need to recognize Bacchus Page as being a little more than just a grant recipient. We'll bring that up at a later date, but it's, I think there's a lot of value here and what they do for the community. You know, they probably, I think their last numbers, they're bringing about 5,000 people a year to the museum. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's still an honor to have them in our community. So.
And just to add to that, I think your number will increase this year because I think they had almost 2,000 people for the eclipse this week. So we're probably looking at more like 7,000 or 8,000 this year.
I heard the 2,000 number and the people were still coming. So I think it's substantially higher than that. So yeah, great work down there. So, okay, let's carry on. We have the committee reports. They are in front of council. I'm not going to read through them all. Are there any comments or questions from any of those from council? I see none. And then we have our staff monthly reports, manager of roads and facilities, water operations, wastewater operator monthly report, the building activity report, fire chief monthly report, drainage superintendent monthly report, recreation monthly activity report, clerk monthly activity report, CO treasurer monthly activity report, and the planner monthly activity report. Does council wish to comment on any of those reports? We have our fire chief with us tonight, so now's the time. Everybody had a chance to go through them. Okay. Staff's getting off easy here.
Ask one question, if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
go ahead.
Hence, I just noticed the roads that are allocated for gravel this year. It's a big line item in our budget. How is it? I'm just curious, how is it managed and how do they control the dollars? Because it probably happens really fast, right over a 30-day period, I would guess. So how do they control the expenditures if we've set a budget?
They decide which roads they're gonna do and they have an amount they're gonna put on and that's what they use with what they budgeted for the year. So that's how they come up with it. I believe they're doing a little less gravel than they used to, trying to keep the budget down, so.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm just asking the question because I think one year we are over budget by a lot. And I don't think we're in a position where we can
I
deal
think-
with it. So
And that might have been the year that the contractor came back and wanted a gas allowance or something because the gas increased on him and I know there was a big fight with that, but that could have been the year. That was just a couple years ago when we went up, yeah.
Murray presented his budget, and I think we have to hold him responsible for it. So I think they're going to watch pretty close.
Shouldn't be buying much gravel for spring breakup, I don't think, because I don't think we're gonna have any.
Our roads are in pretty good shape right now. Anything further from council? Okay,
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewler, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
thank you. Other staff reports. We have the 2024 line painting. This is good work done by Murray collaborating with West Elgin. Anything from council on that? Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, just one quick question. With the line painting, do we pay for the county roads and we are reimbursed, or is that okay, was exact, I was like.
Yeah, it's part of
there's a lot
that.
of county road on there. So
That's
I
part of
just
the road
wanted to-
maintenance agreement. We
I-
did, yeah.
I thought it was,
Yeah.
but then I'm just gonna admit it. I was too lazy to go back and look
Nope.
at that agreement that you sent us.
Good.
Okay,
It's easier to just ask.
Yep, exactly.
anything further? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drewler, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the manager of roads and facilities titled 2024 line painting dated March 27th, 2024 for information. Should be April 10th for information, sorry. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Jeff, come on up. Item B is a fire inspector, and everyone has received your report.
Yeah, good evening, Your Worship and Council. Nice to be here in person. So I'll just quickly, I know the monthly reports have already been brought up, but I'll just quick thanks to the firefighters. I know Public Works was also busy, but we had two apparatus staff for the solar eclipse on Monday. Luckily, nothing, it was all quiet, nothing occurred, but it was nice to be ready. It was fairly quiet across the county, but it was nice to be prepared. So Thanks. And moving on, to the fire inspector report. Most of council is maybe familiar with Bill Todd. I understand historically there's been some different methods for completing inspections within the municipality. But nothing, if I'm correct, nothing formal agreement wise in place. So I'll touch on the second part of the report quickly, that something in the future that council may want to consider is just adjusting the ENR bylaw to be a little more proactive for scheduled fire inspections. Currently it's complaint and request, which is not abnormal, but does create some challenges to be proactive that way. So something for council's consideration in the future. But in the short term, the majority of the departments or municipalities in Elgin are using Bill Todd in some capacity for inspections. So he's retired from St. Thomas. He's thankfully very flexible on short notice for things that may come up. So this report is just to recommend that we approve an agreement with Bill Todd for that.
Any questions from council? Okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report from Jeff MacArthur, Fire Chief, regarding fire inspector for information, and that Dutton Dunwich Council hereby approves using Bill Todd's fire inspection and investigation services, and that council approves staff to draft an agreement for these services. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And we'll go on to the fire prevention officer, and we have the report, but I'll let you speak to it anyway.
Sure, thanks. I'll just quickly mention that, like a lot of fire departments, fire prevention is a shared kind of responsibility among everybody, and everybody chips in. But there is some benefit to having kind of a dedicated fire prevention officer, similar to a training officer position. So, and that would be kind of the county as a whole, as since COVID has picked up more regular fire prevention officers association kind of activities and sharing resources. So I think it'd be good timing to, if council's supportive, to create a position for that and then post that. So thank you.
Anything from council on that one? And this would be an in-house appointee.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And in line with kind of the captain positions. Yeah, just internal for sure.
Nothing from council? Or are you getting away easy here?
I may jump in just so
Go ahead.
doesn't think we're not listening to him here. We got enough money in the budget for both of these positions. I mean, I know we have to do the fire inspection anyways, but.
Yeah. And through Councilor Loveland to council, so the FPO position, currently, I'm sure council's aware, there's 6 officer positions in place now, or 7, I guess, technically. So I think that would be no change from what is currently being done. And then the fire inspector position, I'm just making sure I did include it. Yeah. So cost wise, I mean, there is a few that aren't maybe, I guess, to be honest on that front, if we have requested inspection, we tend to invoice, bill that out. But if there's something that comes up that we're trying to be proactive with, maybe with Bull Beer Villa, for example, that's something we may not charge, just kind of in the spirit of cooperation, I guess, and fire prevention. But I think we could recoup, I won't say all, but a good percentage of those costs. So.
Anything further? Resolution, please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewler, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report from Jeff MacArthur, Fire Chief, regarding fire prevention officer for information, and that Dutton Dunwich Council hereby approves the creation of a fire prevention officer position. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And while you're here in your first meeting in council, how are things at the firehouse?
Good. So we've, and I apologize, Deputy Mayor Loveland, I think I addressed you as counselor, but good. So we're into a good routine of training. We've got a training schedule out for
I guess the spring, so April, May, June, kind of the quarterly training schedule out. So into some good routines, working on some mutual aid training coming up. So yeah, we did have an officers meeting back in January, so I would anticipate we'll have another one coming up this spring, I guess. So yeah, we're trying to work together and move forward on a few items, and yeah, so far so good.
Okay, now's your chance, council. No, all's well. Thank you, Chief MacArthur. Okay. Okay, let's carry on with item D, which is the water main extension policy, the Dutton distribution system. Everyone had a chance to look up that? Is there anything from council? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drouillard, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report, the Executive Assistant, titled Water Main Extension Policy, Dutton Distribution System, dated April 10th, 2024, for information, and that Council adopt policy WRD 13-2024, Water Main Extension Policy, Dutton Distribution System. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Is there any unfinished business? Nothing? Any new business?
Did you want me to speak to the CCTV?
I think you could.
Just
sure.
a
Update
synopsis of.
that it's here.
Yeah, I had a meeting with, Tara and I had a meeting with, NRG, sorry, with Jason from Dillon today. He came in and we discussed the CTV, outcome. So we really don't have an I&I problem. We have a few that have a lot of sludge buildup into them, which is making the pipes a little narrower. But our biggest thing is we're undersized, so it can't handle all the new growth we've put on this municipality, plus the heavy rainfalls. So we have more problems than just capacity at the wastewater treatment plant. We also have the force main is only 6 inches, taking up all this stuff. So so he's gonna come and speak to you guys next council and explain it, but I was just kind of giving you a synopsis. We are also gonna add that into our estimate on what we want for the grant, so that we can at least fix Shackleton and the force main, upsize those. We're really bottlenecking, and that's like Archie said today, like, you know, he comes in and he turns on both pumps, but he's basically just wasting hydro. It just makes him feel better that he's manually turning on pumps, because everything's coming into a pipe too small and it can't go anywhere anyway. So, so Jason was quite surprised that we didn't have any I&I's not causing our problems. So, but.
Yeah, and I guess I'll ask the question. I don't understand that I understand flow problems would cause pumps to run more frequently and probably break down more, but it wouldn't increase the capacity at the plant, or I don't. So maybe if he could be prepared to explain how it increases the capacity there, because I'm not comprehending that.
Well, with just our regular flow, Archie is at capacity. Like just the regular stuff, right?
And I understand that, but when we get heavy rains and we're operating at 124%, I don't think that's a restriction problem, or I don't understand how that's a restriction problem. So I just like that explained to me how it is a restriction problem. Because I don't get it.
Yeah, well, the mayor can explain because he asked it.
Well, and I'm not going to attempt to. I walked in on their meeting. I got here a little earlier, and I think we have some answers right now. The CCTV is back. Jason has it in front of him. He is going to come to council at next council meeting, and he's the engineer. He's an expert. But I felt good coming out of there. I think we have some more information that we can use, and it's the opportune time that we can incorporate some of this into the funding requests that we're going to go for. So I'm going to leave it at that, if that's okay.
No, and Archie, you know, so, and when the mayor asked it, Archie said said like, when we get that kind of rainfall, our existing underground is at 300% capacity. And so that's taking him weeks to clear it out. So it's coming and it's staying. It's basically what Archie's saying, like, yeah, so it's, cause I was surprised too, cause I thought, how can it be stormwater? It's just sanitary pipes, but it's all flowing in but he will explain it. He was quite surprised at how good a shape our underground's in. So Tara, what else did you get out of that, Tara?
I was just gonna say, it's actually when it's dry, where a lot of the pipes are operating at 270%.
That's when it's dry, yeah.
It's dry, not wet.
Yeah.
So we're well over capacity
Yeah.
on the collection system.
Yeah.
And they're gonna look at the development as well and how that will affect that collection.
Yeah, I said that wrong. When we're dry, Archie's collection system is at 300% capacity, like in the pipes.
So if you have a sludge buildup,
That slows it down even
then
more. Yeah.
it's restricted.
Yeah.
So it'd be dry, right? So. Yeah.
So I mean, we were having the meeting today, like even Jason's even a little worried about that Lions Club coming on down Leach Street because we have such a problem.
And that's.
Yeah, no, I just.
Trying to wrap my head around it.
I did say that wrong. It's at, we're dry, what he's at 300. It's 3 times what his pipe should be holding. Yeah, so.
I think Henry has the exact same picture in his mind as I do. It's like the valves in your heart. If they've got sludge, then they're not.
I said it was like going to the teeth, dentist and getting the plaque off your teeth.
It works too hard.
Yeah. Anyways, that was just kind of a synopsis and he will come back and explain it all, but yeah.
That's a big cost. We're looking at serious money.
He has a map on what he's proposing needs to be changed. So anyway, put your seatbelts on next meeting. It's not just a wastewater treatment plant issue. So anyway, we'll leave it at that because I can't explain it either. I'm going to leave it to the professionals, but at least we have some information now that we didn't have before. So we're in a better position to move forward. Okay. Any other new business? I think that was enough for.
Yeah, that gave me a heart attack too,
Yeah.
so I don't care.
Any announcements? No? Okay, let's do the bylaws. The proposed bylaws, the 2024-16 Development Charges Bylaw. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2024-16 being a bylaw to establish development charges for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And all those against? And that's carried.
And B is 2024-17, the Heritage Designation of 13568 Dunborough Road. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulard, that bylaw 2024-17 being a bylaw to designate 13568 Dunborough Road to be of cultural heritage value or interest be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. The next item is closed, so I suggest we take a few-minute break. And you can get us ready then.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:18 PM in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001, chapter 25, for discussion of the following matters: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, section 2392E of the Municipal Act for Dymock Line. All in favor? And that's carried.
Good to go. Okay, item 18 is confirm proceedings. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-18 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. See the date for the future meetings there, and the last one is adjournment.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drewlard. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drewlard, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 6:48 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And Tara said we'd be done by 7. It is 6:48.
Good job.
That's still 8 years. It's not a better place.
Let's go and enjoy it.